She cast me as like Stark or something, and he's not gonna be in the show. She's like, look at the picture, like that's him, like he's on the poster. And I'm like, oh, would you look at that? And I'm just like, take that fish. And then they just kept playing that back. Ben just yell, we'll beat him with our fist, you know? I was like, Ben, I don't think I've ever heard you yell before.
You're
like
watching convention coverage.
Yeah, thanks for spending Easter with us. Easter, sorry.
Have to.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Have been treated well while you're here? Everybody been cool?
It's been really, really cool. Like, all you fans have been amazing. Like, literally, like some of the nicest people ever. I love Roseville.
Right on.
And Sacramento, I feel like what a hidden gem. I love this city. It's beautiful, especially
really
the
is.
weather today. It's so nice.
This is gorgeous.
And we lucked out with the weather. Yeah, it's really nice out today.
What I liked about Frieren is like she collects magic and it's just random spells, so you can answer it either two ways. First question would be, she collects basic spells like changing the flavor of tea or making flowers. Usually we think of spells as like these big, bombastic, superpower type of things. So in your personal life, what spell would you like on a daily basis that you wish you could cast anytime for convenience? Or second part, if you were a villain and you just wanted to just go off on somebody, what spell would you want to use just one time to be villainous?
Yeah, so the spell for everyday use is the spell to clean the cat litter box.
That's a good
100%. I hate that. If I was a villain, I don't know. Maybe this is more bully than villain, but I always thought like in like 90s like shows and stuff, like wedgies were really funny. So like the power to like give someone a wedgie, like it just, you know, I just think that'd be funny.
I was thinking
if I was a villain. Oh, you're gonna say wedgie? That's why we're married.
But if I could have like an everyday spell, organize me. Just organize, please. Help me.
I like that. Mine would be, so I, like Frieren, I'm terrible at getting up in the mornings. I hate mornings. It's been this way since high school. Like I couldn't even make it to my first high school period, and they threatened to fail me from high school. And I have a master's degree. I'm a smart person, but I can't wake up in the morning. So my spell would be instantly, I'm awake, I'm refreshed. I don't need a Dutch Bros giant coffee to help me have energy.
Golden Eagle.
Have energy, yes. We're Dutch Bro people, me and Jordan, so.
We're Dutch Bros, yeah.
Yes, we're Dutch Bros.
The best of
just to
bros.
be able to wake up and not be sleepy, just like Frieren, that would be the best spell.
So thank you for the question.
Thank
So I
you.
appreciate that.
Can you guys share any memorable or funny moments behind the scenes?
So I'm the assistant director to the show, and I'm also Stark. So from an acting perspective, or from an acting experience, there was one time where there was a scene in one of the episodes where I think Frieren's talking to Zine outside, and Fern and Stark are just off in the distance, and Stark is like fishing, and Fern's just like there watching him fish, and he's able to snag the fish, and then he says like a interesting line. He's just like, take that fish. And I said it really dumb for whatever reason. And I'm just like, take that fish. And Jade just looks at me and she's like, that was a really weird way to say it. And I'm like, I know, I was kidding. It was supposed to be a joke. And then they just kept playing that back, like to me, like in my headphones. And I'm like, can we please stop this? And then she played it for Jill. And Jill was like, that's an interesting read. And then, of course, Sawyer, who was the engineer at the time, he's just like, oh, yeah, no, that was just like a joke read that he did and stuff. Like, this is the real thing. And to this day, like Jade and sometimes Sawyer and sometimes Noah, because he's in on it now too, Sawyer and Noah are the engineers for the show. They'll just be like, they'll look at me and be like, take that fish. And I'm like, shut up. I'm like, it was supposed to be a joke.
That's fantastic. I don't know if it's funny, but one of my favorite memories was when I recorded the famous Ara line, Ara, yourself. And so Jill, who plays Fern, she was guest directing for that episode. And so we got to the scene. I had seen it on the internet. I knew that it was such a pivotal moment. And we just did the line one take. And Jill was like, that's all we need. And we
Nice.
didn't even try it again. And then it kind of blew up on the internet. So that was really, really cool to see. And yeah, she was fantastic that Fern was directing me for that scene. I think that makes it even more special.
Yeah. No, that's really awesome. I guess one more that I have, like from a director perspective, was just first off, getting a chance to work with like all the actors on the show was really cool. We were introducing a lot of new actors, new in the sense of like new characters, for the Mage Exam arc. So we have like Morgan Berry as Ubel, Corey Wilder as Lond, and just a bunch of other people. And we were able to get Ben Phillips as Denkin,
He's so good.
Ben's like the nicest person in the world. Like,
Yes.
he's really sweet. And I got to work with Ben for a majority of his Denkin stuff. And to me, what I loved, because Ben's got a great attitude about everything, and he's a very soft-spoken individual, was when Denkin had he ran out of mana, and he like takes off his coat, and he's just like, yeah, I'm about to fight you. And he's like this 70-year-old man with a monocle, and he's just like, well, Richter, as you can see, we've got to... And just directing him in the line where he has to yell, because Denkin's been very soft-spoken to this point. He's been very like, oh, I'm a old mage who is very knowledgeable about a lot of things, so not a lot of things surprise me. And for him to have Ben just yell, just, we'll beat him with our fist. I was like, dude, Ben. And it was kind of scary, because I was like, Ben, I don't think I've ever heard you yell before. Like, that is scary. But that was a lot of fun being able to direct him for that. So that's a fun little behind the scenes story from the directing side of things.
How do you get like in character, like ready to record for roles?
For Frieren in particular, what I've noticed is I can get into the Frieren role in the morning better than I can in the afternoon, which is kind of weird, but your voice changes throughout the day. When I wake up, I just feel like I can get into that Frieren sort of voice a little bit easier. So I always try to schedule them in the morning. And then I do some warm-ups. So I have a like choral background. I used to be in a lot of choirs. I love to sing. And so I'll do little warm-ups in my car as I'm driving and listening to awesome music, as Kelsey said. And that just helps kind of warm up my voice a little bit to get into that role. But sometimes each role is different. For Frieren, that might be what I do, but if it's a different character where I need to, be higher in my register, I might try, a different technique. But those are some of my favorites.
Nice. For me, I like to do a little bit of research on the character if I can. So if they give me like some information where it's like, hey, you're going to be voicing this character, I might Google it or like check out the Wikipedia page of like the character if there's any information. I might, if the Japanese is out, I might listen to like the sub version just to hear what the Japanese actor did. And then of course try to make it a little bit of your own. Obviously listening to the director and like what vision that they have for the character, because they may be like, hey, I cast you for this specific reason because I think you can do this type of stuff really well. So just getting as much information and research and whatever that I can, and then going in, obviously like the vocal warm-ups, doing it in your car, maybe like a little bit of tea or something as well, just to kind of soothe the throat. And just kind of going for it. Like for Stark, for a lot of his yells, I like to yell in anime. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a classic thing. So for me, like anytime he has to yell or be scared or stuff like that, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna go all in. And if it's too much, the director will just tell me, hey, that was really good, but that might be a little too much. Let's kind of tone it back down a little bit, keep it a little more grounded. And that's just kind of the things that I do to warm up or to help me when it comes to, trying to figure out a little bit more about a character that I might be playing.
I think in addition to all those things, just being prepared before you have to be prepared. So like taking classes, take acting classes of any and all sorts, especially improv. Like when you're first starting out as a voice actor, most people start out with Wallet and Bits. So when you go in, you don't know what you're gonna do. You're just gonna chat about whatever and anything like a regular townsfolk is gonna talk about. Like, ooh, this is a lovely bread you have here. Like, oh,
Pineapple
how
on
much is
pizza.
it? Pineapple, oh gosh.
Delicious.
So just kind of having that preparedness even before you get chosen for a role, for anything. That way your emotional reactivity is a lot quicker, because sometimes we don't get to see the Japanese. Like there was one time I had a show where it was like same day dub. So I had no idea what I was going to be doing when I came in that day. But because I had that preparedness beforehand, on day one, I was like, oh, okay, so I see this is kind of what the character is just based off this very, very quick preview. And then you just have to make a big decision on what you're gonna do and just stick with it and be confident in that. So yeah, just being prepared before you have to be prepared is what I would say.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you.
So awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you ever have dreams from the perspective of your character?
I definitely have had dreams about voice acting, just the process of it, because actually I had a dream about you the other night.
Oh,
while
yeah?
we were here. Yes.
Really?
We were auditioning.
This is the first
for
I'm hearing of
something.
it.
We were auditioning for something because I think there's so much pressure in the voice acting scenarios that it's kind of like I used to work at the Humane Society, and at one point someone had gotten laid off, and I was working 7 days a week with puppies and kitties, and in my dreams I saw puppies and kitties. And so same with voice acting, I think, in some way, where I will have dreams about the process itself. But have I had a dream about an actual anime? I don't know if I have. That's a good question.
Yeah, I haven't. I have not. I barely remember when I dream, and when I do, I'm just like, why? Why am I
need more
remembering
sleep.
this? So I, to my knowledge, and maybe I have, and I just forgot. To my knowledge, I have not dreamed of my characters, but I have had some attachments. Especially it's for example, Leon's my first lead role, so it's there's something there where it's hey, this is my first lead role, so obviously I'm gonna it means a lot to me. Or Stark, my wife told me, this character is literally the closest to you that I think any character you voiced has ever been, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. And you have that emotional connection as well. In terms of dreams, no.
They're in there. They're in there, back in the deep in your psyche.
Somewhere.
I have not had a dream with any of my characters, but if I could, I think I'd like to have a dream with maybe Asami from Higehiro, because she's just this really cool chick who's super encouraging to her friend Sayu, and I could always use a good encouraging friend in my dreams. So but I'm also there with you on the acting stress dreams.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
yes, they're real.
That's definitely happening.
They are real.
Thank you.
So thank you,
Good
man.
question. Thanks, Corey.
Appreciate it. I mean, has anyone here watched Frieren Beyond Journey's End? Heck yeah. All right. That's what I'm talking about. What did you guys think? The show's pretty much over. So it was good. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Okay, right on.
How many episodes?
28.
28. That seems kind of
28.
standard, 26,
Good.
28.
For season
Yeah,
one.
and like Mallory said, this is not a spoiler. It ends on a bit of a teaser where it's the journey is going to continue, but they haven't said anything about season 2. So it's Japan? You want to tell us? Because I want confirmation.
Throw me a bone. Need the info.
But yeah, no, I guess for me, Mallory, Frieren, you've been doing this for, 10, 12 years now, voice acting for anime. So, I remember when you got cast as Frieren, I was texting you, and I'm just dude, I'm so excited for you. This is huge for you. Because I think this is this was your first, big lead in, a big show. What was that process like for you, when you found out, hey, I got this character in this show and then you see the popularity of the show grow?
Yeah, I mean, it's been incredible. Frieren has such a special place in my heart because not only, is it a good anime, but it's my type of anime, It just feels like something I already love. Like, I'm a big fantasy fan. I read a lot of fantasy novels. I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, and I feel like there's so many fantasy elements in it that are a part of it. The music, Evan Call is the composer, and I think the music is incredible. Like, I will put on the soundtrack. It's on Spotify, and I will just listen to it as I'm cleaning my house, and I feel like I'm on this grand adventure while I'm cleaning my house. It's incredible. The animation, Madhouse is just one of the best, if not the best. And then the fact that I get to voice a title character in an anime that I love, it's just every day I'm just counting my lucky stars. I'm so grateful for it. But I remember I was walking down the stairs when I got the text, and I was like, oh, I have to look up the show. And I started looking up, and I saw all the hype for the manga, all the people who were like, this is going to be huge. But I didn't realize it was going to be this big. And I think it's only growing. Now that it's, almost officially done, I think a lot of people are like, I've heard about this show. I haven't watched it yet. I've been waiting for all the episodes to come out. And now they're all out. And so you see a lot of people binging and being like, yes, this is an amazing anime. Yeah. So seeing it grow has just been awesome. And I remember, because it came out at first, and then you learned about your role, and you were like, oh, who is this guy? And then you see like the cover, and there's your guy right there on the front. What was that like?
That was interesting. So and I've told a couple of the fans that came up to me about this story. So I didn't know, I'd heard of Frieren, the anime, and one of my friends, Yusef, he was like, hey man, Frieren, that's gonna be the big show this season. And I was like, I've never heard of it. So therefore, I guess it must not be big. No, but I was like, I haven't heard of this, but I'll look it up. And I was like, okay, this show looks cool, a little bit of fantasy stuff. And then obviously you got cast and Jill got cast, and Stark doesn't show up till episode 6. Cliff got cast as Himmel and stuff. And I was like, okay, they're using some big names, cool. And then I got an email, and it was like, hey, Jordan, can you come in for 15 minutes? They didn't even say it was for Stark. They were just like, can you come in for 15 minutes for Frieren? And I'm like, oh, I get to be a part of Frieren. Yes, Bits or Walla or something. This is going to be cool. So I go in, and Stark had one line. It was a after credits scene where all the voices, if you've seen the show, I'm talking about, all the voices come in at one time at the end of the episode for the next episode. And I did my line, and I'm thinking, okay, he's going to be a one episode character. This is all about a big journey. So he's probably just going to be in this episode, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So I do the line, and then I go home, and I tell my wife, and I'm just like, I got to do a little something for Frieren. And, I think she cast me as Stark or something. And he's a bit or something. He's not going to be in the show for very much, but I'm thankful to be in it. And then she looks at me, she goes, I'm pretty sure he's one of the main characters. I'm like, no, he's not. And she's like, look at the picture. That's him. He's on the poster. And I'm like, oh, would you look at that? And then I was like, I looked it up, and I'm like, he is one of the main characters. Yes. But that was kind of my process with getting cast, and I got really excited. We ended up actually binging as much as we could when I found out, because we wanted to know the story, and we wanted to see what all the hype was about. And it just, the popularity continued to grow and grow and grow. I think this is the first convention where we've seen this many Frieren cosplays. It's been insane.
There was 5 Frierens yesterday. I saw a Himmel as well.
Yeah, I saw Himmel, Stark. I saw Fern, I think, as well. So
cool.
It's crazy. But yeah, that was the process for me. I was just very, very surprised and very, I guess, out of touch. But I'm thankful that I got a chance to be on the show.
I don't even remember what I got to do.
But you were in
I did a Walla session, and I think I was just I was somebody during the dancing episode.
That's a good episode.
I don't remember what I said, but I was in the background being like, a lady, and I'm just like, oh, how are you this evening? Oh, would you like to dance?
Heck yeah.
You know?
And Walla, for you guys, if you're not familiar, that's just kind of like the background. So you usually go in with like 3 to 4 different actors, and you're kind of all talking at the same time to create the background noise in big crowd scenes. And then bits, what we call bits, are bit parts. They're just little parts of, one character that has one line. They don't have a name. They're school teacher, 7A, and you do that. But sometimes those can be really fun because
They are.
you just do kind of whatever you want. Sometimes you can do wild voices. You can make it silly. You can say silly things in the Walla.
One Piece is notorious for that. One Piece.
My favorite Walla character was for Vampire Dies in No Time. And I got to play a vampiric celery.
Wait, celery? Like
a vampiric
celery.
celery.
That's incredible. Put that at the top of your resume.
Oh, yeah.
What does a vampiric celery say?
That's what it said.
Heck yeah. That's so great.
Random burbling.
I will say something.
Yes, please, go right ahead.
Because we were speaking of bits. I got a chance to play the mama cat in Frieren for there's an episode where there's just like a cat that meows, and I had been dying to play a cat in anime. I was like, please. Every season I would tell the producers, they're like, is there anything else we need to know? And I'm like, cats. Cast me as cats, please. I want a chance to do this. And Jade, she told me, she was like, yeah, I listened to your cat audition. It was like, I was like, yes. And I got a chance to be a cat as well in Frieren, and that was like a dream come true. I went home and I was so I was telling her, I was like, I got to do a cat. They picked me. I can't believe it. So I was very thankful, just because we were speaking about bits and stuff. So that was a lot of fun.
I mean, did you know this was something that he was dying to do?
It was constantly, every single day after
I didn't
work,
get the
he'd be
cat
like,
part. I got the
didn't get
main
to do
character, but I
cat."
didn't get the cat.
They always pick them as cats. I'm like,
So he finally got the cat, and you were like, thank God, shut up. No, I'm kidding.
It's been a lot quieter
that's
since.
just driven me even more. Now I'm like, I'm the cat guy. No. It was a lot of fun.
D. Bradley Baker, who?
Yeah, that's right.
When you're not working on one, I mean, how many are you doing on average at any given time?
Yeah, for me at least, in my experience, it kind of just fluctuates between seasons. Like there might be a season that you're sitting there and they're like, hey, I'm thinking about using you as the lead. Another director, I'm thinking about using you as like a supporting character. Another director, hey, we've got a little bit of Walla and bits. Are you interested in being part of this group and getting called in and stuff? And then there's other seasons where it's just like, hello, does anybody want me? No. But it's a lot of fun. It's just kind of the ebbs and flows of being an actor.
Yeah.
Some seasons are very fruitful, and others are just very dry, and you just kind of gotta take it and focus on other things when you're not being used.
Yeah, the cool thing, now I've been doing this for about 10 years, is a lot of the shows that I started with are coming back with new seasons. So Fairy Tale, 100 Years Quest is coming out this year. We've got Slime that has new seasons coming out. Mushoku Tensei that has new seasons coming out. And so that's kind of cool of, doing something and then thinking, oh, maybe I'll never get to voice this character again. And then all of a sudden, season 2, season 5, season whatever comes out, and you're like, yes.
Oh, Date Alive.
Oh, Date Alive, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, lots of good shows coming out this year.
Has there been the one that really surprised you? You're like, that was fun. I had fun doing that, and it's never going to happen again. And then down the road, they're like, hey, here it is again. You're like, woo!
I would say Fairy Tale, because when Fairy Tale ended, have you guys watched Fairy Tale? Anyone in the room? Okay, yes, I see some hands. That's good. When it ended, I was like, that's the end. It's done. And then I'd heard about 100 Years Quest, but it seemed like it wasn't going to happen for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then this year, they finally announced that in July, it's coming back. And from what I know, my character, Yukino, is going to be a part of it. So I'm crossing my fingers that we get to be a part of that dub, because
Heck yeah.
I miss Fairy Tale. It's a really good one.
What's the time frame? 10 years or?
Fairy Tale was one of my first roles. So, I probably started that back in 2016 or 15.
Okay, so almost a decade.
It's been a while, and so I've missed it.
Yeah. For me, it's more so just being surprised that the characters come back at all. So like it'll be like, oh, it is season 2 of this, and then like we had season 2 of Laid Back Camp that we just dubbed, and I voiced like some dude that showed up like once in season 1, and then he showed back up in season 2, and they're like, hey Jordan, can you come in for a couple lines for this guy in season 2 of Laid Back Camp? And I'm like, he came back? What? And I'm like, yes, of course I will, because I like work and I like money and I like paying my bills.
Yes. There's this thing called life.
Yeah, but to me, it's actually more so that like some of the shows that have gotten season 2s, I feel, you can kind of tell that they're gonna get a season 2. So like, I know like Hell's Paradise, they already announced that that's gonna have a season 2, and some of these other shows, you're like, okay, there's enough material for a season 2, so I'm more than sure that they're gonna announce something in the future. So yeah, it's more so the characters for me.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like that's happening a lot more and more quickly nowadays too, is where we're getting like sequels coming like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, we already know there's another Apothecary Diaries coming out next year? Okay, cool, yay. So, I mean, for me, I'm excited for that, knowing like, hey, I'll probably get to be seeing my character come around again, and also like so very soon compared to like what I'm sure you guys have experienced, where it's like we gotta wait for like a decade
Years.
for my character to come back, if ever. Oh
no. See, it's even sad for you.
I know, yeah. It feels the pain of waiting for another.
yeah,
I know, right?
He's
7
like,
years.
oh, you're right, it was bad.
Has there, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, I was just gonna, has there been anything that has come back around? You're like, oh, I gotta do a season 2?
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
And it wasn't as an actor. I'm a director as well, so
Okay.
I do assistant directing. Fruit of Evolution season 2. When we got that, season 1 was really funny, and this isn't me hating on it. We were like, okay, season 2, like it'll be funny as well. And then the story was just all over the place. And it actually got to the point where me and the head director, we were just sitting talking to each other, even the lead actor, I'm not gonna say who, but we were talking to each other and we're just like, what happened? Like season 1 was so much fun to work on, and like season 2 is just all over the place. Like this is not enjoyable at all. And it's just kind of one of those where you're just like, hey, this was assigned to us. We're going to do it. Like, we're going to make it our best that we can make it. But this is not, I am not smiling on this one. This is not one that is enjoyable. And I'm sorry for anyone that likes Fruit of Evolution season 2. It was fun until it wasn't. It was fun until it wasn't.
I haven't experienced that personally. So far, I've been like very excited. Yay! More things are coming back. Cool.
Has there been anything that you were hoping got a season 2 and didn't?
I mean, Star Blazers is one that I'm such a huge fan of. This was like an original 80s anime.
Space Battleship Yamato.
Remade, and then there has been some remakes, but
2202.
yeah, there needs to be more. I feel like there was some that was done in Japan that never really came to the US, so I'm hoping for more of that. Yeah, and Frieren, I mean, they said the journey continues, but we're just crossing our fingers.
I know.
It continues sooner rather than later, because I don't want to wait.
I know.
I just don't want the story to end.
Yeah, same for Frieren. Also Trapped in a Dating Sim. That's one that they announced that season 2 was going to be happening Christmas of 2022. Like, they posted it on Twitter and everything. And since then, there have not been any news updates. There have not been any like, this studio's taking it, or we've got a date for this. So I'm questioning if like they made the announcement and then maybe changed their mind in production. But it'd be really cool to do season 2 of Trapped, just because that's a really fun show.
I mean, for me personally, like working wise, I got a cheat skill in another world. They said there's a new project or something very vague coming out, so we'll see about that. But personally, I'm hoping that we get a season 2 of Yuri on Ice someday. Someday.
Good one.
That would be great.
Yes.
She's a big Yuri on Ice fan.
That's like my favorite anime.
Well, thank you very much for being here. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you guys.
Please give a big